Howdy everyone, welcome to another episode of the Watch It Played Q&A. My name's Matthew and together, with a bunch of your help, let's endeavour to answer all of the internet's burning board game questions. The first question we have this month is, it's getting autumnal out there. What are the best autumn games? Autumn means the changing of leaves, little critters, coziness, hot drinks, the looming stress of Christmas. So what are those best autumn games? I think a lot of people would say things like Patchwork. People might say Calico. Arboretum could be another one. But I have 5 autumn games that I'm going to give to you and then give a vague justification as to why I think they're autumn games. These are in no particular order, and we're going to start off with the Red Cathedral. Why is the Red Cathedral an autumn game? I just feel like it has an autumnal look to it. And I find it, this is so subjective, I personally find it to be quite cozy. There's not a lot of artwork in the Red Cathedral. That's one of my only negatives about the game. But the artwork that is there just is autumnal to me. Folly, I guess, if you're American. It's just autumnal to me. I don't know, I get that feeling from it. And that is the thing with autumn games. It's that feeling you get from it. I actually had that feeling today for the first time this year, and I was driving home and the leaves are starting to change, and I just thought, gosh, I love autumn. It's my favourite season. The next game is the Taverns of Tiefenthal. And I don't think this takes too much twisting to make it a good justification for it. You know, it's very inviting and warm, and the artwork on the box gives that impression of it being cold outside, and you walk into a warm tavern with a fire burning at the hearth, and it has that kind of warm feeling. I don't know how else to say a game's autumnal than it just has that warm feeling the Taverns of Tiefenthal gives me. You know, a cold winter's night and you've got I'm going to say a glass of warm mead. I don't know if we drink mead warm, but, you know, a warm glass of grog. Then I have Citrus, which is just right there. I think it's wonderful, Citrus. It's all about creating like groupings around these things to get points, but you're kind of harvesting autumnal fruit and veg, you know? Well, fruit, it's called citrus, but you're harvesting in autumn, and it's got those beautiful orange hues. It's a bit of a mean game. It's such a great game. And that's more important to me than the autumnal part of Citrus. But yeah, when I think of autumn and I looked at my game shelves, Citrus was the first game I thought of. Then we have a game I've spoken about quite a few times on here, so I won't belabor it, but it's another game I think is criminally underrated, and that's Fields of Green. Fields of Green is this grand game of farming where you're putting all these cards out to have adjacencies to get ducks to score for this and cows to score for this and wheat to score for this. But it's got that harvesting kind of feel to it. But the expansion Grand Fair is the Harvest Festival. And you've got all these little mini competitions going on and stuff and extra bits and pieces to do. Any excuse for me to talk about Fields of Green, I will take the chance to do it. And here's me doing it once again. My final autumnal game pick. No one is going to agree with me. Yido. The game I'm picking is Yido. And the reason for that is look at the board for Yido. Is that not the most beautiful autumnal feeling board with the lanterns and the light, and it's just gorgeous? I'm picking Yido, and that's my pick, and there's nothing anyone could do about it. You know, we have a lot of games about cats and kittens and cozy critters, little creatures in a village in the woods, you know, your tiny towns and timber towns and Everdales, and they all have an autumnal feeling. But what are the ones that you think are your favourite autumnal games? Let me know. The next question just struck me so hard because it's such a good idea. And it's I'm learning Spanish. Are board games a good way to learn? You may have seen in an episode recently, I am literally trying to learn Spanish right now and probably will be for the foreseeable future. I feel like I know more Spanish than I do. I no me gusta, let me tell you. There's lots of ways I've been trying to learn to try and make it more fun, and also so I can avoid actually doing any learning by researching better ways to learn. We all do this. I feel like, I want to get ready to be able to watch like Spanish TV shows or English language TV shows that I've watched before translated into Spanish. It's like The Simpsons and stuff. I've got books of beginner conversations that I'm going to hopefully get around to being able to actually read in Spanish. But any extra thing I can do to learn Spanish, I'm willing to do it. I'll move to Spain. I dare me, I tell you. But Spanish board games as a way to learn, that is something I could really probably enjoy. Now, I don't think I would be ready to read a rule book in Spanish anytime soon. And I think you'd have to really go with a lot of card games. Because, there's lots of games I could play that once you've read the rulebook, there's no more Spanish. There's nothing else to read. You're just playing the game, other than maybe like 5 or 6 cards. So I feel like if you wanted to learn a foreign language using a board game, it'd be a good idea to use a board game that you maybe already know or at least familiar with. And it should be some type of card game with a lot of cards and a lot of text. I also feel like unless you've got a bunch of Spanish friends or friends of the language you're trying to learn, it needs to be a soloable game. Not necessarily solo, but a soloable game. So I kind of landed on the idea of the Lord of the Rings LCG, Arkham Horror the card game, and Marvel Champions. Now you're going to be learning kind of some specifics about, but there's some words you're going to learn that you're probably not going to need elsewhere. What's orthogonal in Spanish? But those games have a lot of cards that you need to know how to do. They often have flavor text on the cards, which you could also enjoy and try and translate. And you can play it solo and sit and try to play through and look at what the card does, read it, try to, translate it as best you can, understand it, and then you can check what the card says in English and then play the game. It gives you a reason to really want to learn the words you're reading because you want to be able to play the game. It gives you an actionable after the learning part of it. Once I get to understand what this card does, I can actually continue playing. And I feel like that's a great way. The one game I have played in Spanish, but I did it with a Spanish person, my friend, was Mindbug. Knowing what a few of the words for Mindbug stuff is in Spanish probably isn't going to be super helpful. But I was able to, after translating a couple of the cards, really understand what all the cards did and some of the particulars, because card games are particular. On your turn, on my turn, after this, to your opponent, to your, all those different bits and pieces. Great, useful language. I don't think you're going to learn a language from a board game only, but it's certainly a different string for your bow. That's got to be a good way to do it. The one thing I would love is there are no board games that I am aware of that were designed to teach a foreign language. There's games about deciphering an alien language, and there's lots of apps, but I'm not a big app learner of language. I don't know how much marketing potential there would be in that type of thing, but an actual board game that was actually fun, that the point of was to teach you a foreign language. I don't know how you do it, I don't know who's going to do it, and I don't know how many people are going to buy it, but I would buy that straight away. And our final question this month is, do you need to buy the new version of a game? I feel like they're talking here about when a game gets reprinted with a different theme, but it's essentially still the old game. Do you need to buy that? I mean, if we're talking second editions of a game, that's kind of a whole different topic on whether the second edition is warranted and all that type of stuff. So we're talking about rethemings of game. There's a lot of factors in this, and I guess it really comes down to a case-by-case basis. But for instance, with a few examples, there's a new version of Samurai that was recently on crowdfunding, and it's called Hanami. It's a straight reprint of Samurai, which is one of my favorite, fantastic, wonderful games, but with a new theme. It's still set in Japan, but it's a new theme. And if that was all there was to it, this is a great way to get hold of Samurai in the new version, Hanami. But there is also an addition. There's additions in this. There's another side of the board and new rules. You can play the old rules, but there's new stuff. I don't know if there's enough new stuff in there to get the game. I'm not getting that because I own Samurai and I personally like the theming of Samurai over Hanami. But I'm super happy that this has come out because it's a fantastic game. Another example of this is Bitewing Games have made a new version of one of my favorite Kenichi games called Chin, which is right there. I own that. I own both of the hard to find expansion boards for it. I don't need to buy the new version called Gazebos. And to be perfectly frank, I much prefer the old theme to the new theme. But again, I'm really happy that it's being made because more people are going to want to play this new version. But if you own Chin, I don't think you need to own Gazebos. Now, some games I have gone and got the new version of. I bought Ego from Bitewing Games, even though I owned Beowulf the Legend. It's just such a nicer production and definitely more approachable. Something I can definitely get to the table and get people to want to learn to play. No one wants to play my old version of Beowulf. It's a beat up old box of Beowulf the Legend, and everyone's like, what is this again, Matthew? More of these? Buy a new game. So I did, but it's the old game, Secrets. Another game I'm getting is from Allplay called Merchants of Andromeda, which is a remaking of Merchants of Amsterdam. And I love that game, but it's got just a front cover that I like and I'm interested in and go, ooh, that looks fun. And no one else wants it to play. I think I can get them to play the new Allplay Merchants of Andromeda. A lot of this comes down to, for me, is convincing other people that these games are good, and now they have beautiful productions that does entice other players to what you already knew were fantastic games. One of the Bitewing game I'll just mention quickly is Silos, which is a new version of Municipium. I like the old version. I liked the way Municipium looked. I liked that, but I did get the new version. I got Silos because there's just zero chance I'm getting anyone else to play Municipium with me. But there is a little part of me that is kind of, I guess it's because I'm getting older. I like the way some of these old games look. That's the look of the games that got me into the hobby. I understand that I'm probably in the minority for a lot of these, wanting to play Municipium, the game that no one wants to play. I wouldn't like us to completely lose touch with those styles of games because they mean something to me. But those games aren't going away. They still exist. And just because the new game comes out doesn't mean you can't go and play the old version. But the question was, do you need to buy the new version of the game? The answer is, you don't need to buy anything, ever, in the board game hobby. Do you want it? And if you want it, then you should get it. But you shouldn't feel forced into buying the new version of the game just because there's a new version of the game. I'm still going to play Chin. I'm still going to play Rondo. But I am going to sometimes get the new version. How about you? What are your favourite reprints? What's a game that even if they made a huge reprint you'd never need to get? We didn't even touch on these deluxeified, magnificent new versions of things like the Castles of Burgundy. But I think that's a slightly different type of thing. It's not really a one-for-one type of exchange. But what are your favourites? And what are the games that you will always play the original as well? Thank you so much everyone for being here this month. I just appreciate it so much for you popping along. I'd love to read your comments, so pop your questions, comments and concerns down below and let's get a conversation going down there. And until next month, have a great time and be kind to yourself. Bye.